Hey guys, welcome to my top 10 best games of 2020. This is my personal list, so it only includes games that I have personally played, so that kind of limits it, of course. I think it should be well over 20 games, new games, but yeah, I've not played God of War, I've not played Horizon Forbidden West. That game is called Forbidden West. I knew that. So this is my personal top 10. The rules are simple. It has to be a 2022 release, either in early access or from early access to full release. I count all of that. I'm not going to be difficult. Truth be told, it hasn't been the best year in games for me. I think my last year's list was better. There were some great indie games and also some good AAA games, but just not as many as I had hoped personally. But oh well, it's still a proper top 10. I think they all deserve a spot there, but I think number 6 or so onwards, that is where it gets actually really good. Alright, let's jump into it.
Those who walk the path of the Ark will share its fate.
So in 10th place we have Lost Ark. Now I know this is not the most mind-blowing release ever, but oh, and I should probably mention that it did come out in 2019 in South Korea, but not in the rest of the world. It came out in Europe, America, everywhere else. In February, the month of the year that starts with an F, February. It came out in early 2022 for the rest of the world, so it counts. And it's an MMO. It has this Diablo-like combat style, top-down. It kind of has, the world has kind of these Final Fantasy vibes. It's honestly very pretty. It has a lot of variation in landscapes. It has all these themes in different parts of the world, which I really like and really fun. You have a lot of classes, so plenty of different playstyles to try. But of course it's also an MMO, so it also has issues with bots and a subpar anti-cheat system, and it's very, you have to grind a lot. It also takes ages to complete the main quest line, which can get a bit boring sometimes. But why I still think it should be at number 10 is that I have so much fun with this game, and it's free to play. You really don't need to invest any money if you don't want to, and it offers hundreds of hours of fun for free in a pretty good MMO world. So yeah, I think in the genre it really stands out as one of the best options to play, and that's why it's a good game.
Justice plays no favorites, nor do I.
Right, coming in at number 9, Warhammer 40k Dark Tide. It's a shooter, co-op shooter, 4 people in a team, 4 different classes, variety of different weapons of course, abilities, skill trees. It has a pretty cool world. It's like the typical sci-fi shooter world, but it has also these steampunk-like levels and a bit of these gothic vibes. You have this cathedral level that's pretty cool, and I really like that. Yeah, I think at its core, it's a great game, and I think if you like Vermintide, I've played Vermintide 2, I really like that game, and you're probably going to like this as well. I've had a ton of fun with this. I've had a ton of fun with it, which is why I put it at number 9. But the launch wasn't great. There are a lot of issues with this game, which is also why the reviews on Steam are mixed. Yeah, to sum up, there were a lot of error codes. What else? Oh yeah, the crafting system wasn't in place yet. Yeah, and something that I personally found kind of disappointing is the background choices. When you make your character, you get all these background choices, but in reality they only slightly influence the voice lines that your character will shout during missions, but it doesn't really impact anything else. So I thought we would get some cool RPG elements, but not really. It's not something I need in this game, but it's a bit weird to put this detailed character background system and then just not really use it. But yeah, all of that together with the downsides, I think number 9 is as high as I can possibly put this game.
Oh, did that thing just spit all
Finally!
At number 8, High on Life.
Listen, can you pull the inhibitor chip?
Yes, the wacky sci-fi shooter from the creators of Rick and Morty. I don't really like Rick and Morty, but this game, I loved this game. The first few hours, it was so funny, I couldn't stop laughing. It was really cool game. Also really liked this colorful, crazy world and all these wacky characters saying stupid shit all the time. Yeah. I must say, it's apparently not for everyone. I saw people online saying that it wasn't funny at all, so it really depends on your personal sense of humor. For me, it was definitely worthy of a spot on this list. The only reason why I don't place it higher is the combat system. It's kind of generic, just pew 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 enemies, kind of simple. Big part of the gameplay is just enemy waves coming in at you repeatedly. And it's a bit boring at times. I played more for the scenery and the story and the jokes.
Look! Aiden! They're back on!
At number 7, Dying Light 2 Stay Human. I played this one, it came out in early 2020. I played it pre-release, didn't know what to expect, so that's definitely fun. I was surprised by how big the map is. That was really cool to discover. You have these separate parts of the city with very different vibes to it. Of course, plenty of quests, plenty of interesting NPCs. Yeah, and I just like the questing around, running away from zombies, but I also think it's not the best zombie RPG they could have made, I think. I know some people were disappointed that it wasn't as good as the first Dying Light in their opinion. I still think this is a good game. It has all the ingredients of a good RPG, but the story wasn't that special. The protagonist is kind of this silent, strong type without much character, kind of boring, and some gameplay elements were... For example, when you go into a building and you have to kill all those sleepy zombies, I don't remember what they're called, it's been a while. But they just sit on the ground and they don't do anything, and you can just sneak, or not even use sneak, but you can scan the whole building. Not the whole building. You can scan the area surrounding your character, and you can see through walls and everything where all the zombies are. They are outlined in red, and then you can just go in and stab them because you know where they are. And it's kind of easy. But yeah. Still a cool game, so it made the list. At number 6, Metal Hellseeker. Now this is a really cool game. It's an amazing concept, and I'm so glad someone thought of making this. It's a first-person shooter, but it's also a rhythm game, and it's also a metal game featuring actual real metal artists. And not just from your local garage band or something, actual famous vocalists are in this game. So you go around and you're shooting demons, and you have to shoot them on the beat, and the music will get more bombastic and the vocals will come in as you progress. It's a really cool experience, it's really fun. And I was amazed that it actually works for me because I don't have any musical talent. So I thought this would be, I would probably mess it up and not really get why I was messing it up. But it's made in a way that you, as long as you concentrate on the music, counting really helps. Then you can just go like, or I would go. Personally, I would count. I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and every time you count, you shoot an enemy. So yeah, great game, great idea. Everything works well, and it's a really fun experience.
My name is Guybrush 3.0.
Number 5, Return to Monkey Island. I love Monkey Island, and I like this game a lot. The art style isn't really my thing. I would have liked a bit less cartoonish, a bit more expression in the faces, maybe a bit more details. But it looks great. It's a matter of taste. It looks great. I can live with it. Gameplay is, well, it's Monkey Island, so it's point and click, colorful adventure set in a pirate universe. Guybrush Threepwood is your hero, and you just have to solve puzzles, think of characters to talk to, and stuff to combine to progress through the story. And the puzzles, they're really fun, the story is fun. But I couldn't help but feel a tiny bit disappointed with this game. I felt as though I liked previous Monkey Island games better, but it's been years since I've played them, so maybe my memory is also messing with me right now. But it's a good game. It's just, I had hoped I would be able to place it in my top 3. As long as I don't compare it to my previous Monkey Island experience, it deserves the 5th spot on this list. I just felt like the puzzles were not as difficult, maybe the story not as engaging or surprising. Yeah, it's just, I had a great time. I wish I had a even greater time. Number 4 was a really pleasant surprise, Vampire Survivors. It's a tiny game. It's super simple, it doesn't even look that great. It just shouldn't be this good. It shouldn't be at the fourth spot on my best games of 2020 list. But, well, it is. I guess I have to... How do I explain this? It's just, even though it's a simple game, it's super addictive, super fun. You just try it and you'll keep playing, I promise you. So you take on the role of a person with a starting weapon and a certain skill, and then you grab more weapons and more skills as you level up, and you don't even pull the trigger. Your weapons just circle around you and attack nearby enemies automatically, and so it's up to you to get close enough or dash away enough to destroy enemies without them destroying you. It's very hard to put this game aside. It's a lot of fun. It's a roguelike, of course, so you just can keep going, die, and then start over again, and then you'll die again, but you won't mind because you'll start over, etc. So at number 3 we have Raft, the survival game with the big shark that eats your floating home. So this game feels like it's kind of older. The reason is that it's been in early access for quite a while, but it actually did come out with the final update, so the full release this year, so it counts for the list, and this game is just amazing. It's so good. It's in a genre, a well-worn genre. We have millions of survival games, but Raft really stands out. You're dropped in the ocean, tiny raft. There's almost nothing besides driftwood and plastic, and you have to reel that in and then expand your floating home. And you have to visit islands, lots of different islands. There's even a storyline in this game. The one thing that I like in particular about this survival game is that usually I build cool homes and then I go explore another place and then I don't really get back to that home. But in Raft you take your home with you everywhere. So once you're done exploring an island, you have to get on that same raft again to move on. If you lose your raft, it's game over. So you stick with that one home you're building, so you don't ever have to leave it behind, and that's really fun. And in second place I've got Pentiment, the 16th century murder mystery with lots of monks and nuns and farmers and other townspeople in old Bavaria. It's a choice-based story. You have to go through lots and lots of dialogue. You have to talk to people and make choices. Yes, and the story of course kind of important in a narrative-driven game, but the story is really, really good. It's super intriguing. You're gonna want to know what happens next, and there's lots of twists and turns and really a lot of surprises. So it's really fun. Now, as with most choice-based games, you're not gonna get a completely different ending. I won't spoil anything, but it's like there are different outcomes. They're not massively different. You will get to determine the fates of many characters who live in the town of Tessing, where this game is set, and so it does matter what you choose. If you have warm feelings for certain characters, that you can help them get a nicer life. Well, you can also completely destroy the lives of others. That kind of power is obviously fun to play with. So it's one of the strengths of this game. It also looks gorgeous, by the way. And you get to choose some of your skills. And you have to actually use all those skills throughout the game. So there's really a character building element in the beginning, which is fun also. It's a great game. You absolutely, if you like a cool story in a game, you've got to play this one. Right, so then we're almost at the top spot, but first I want to mention some mentions. I want to mention some honorable mentions. Right, my honorable mentions, let's start with the sort of other survival games. Grounded, which is survival with insects, and V Rising, which is a survival game with vampires. Both are really fun games, really cool survival games actually, and they would have deserved the 11th and 12th spot on this list. Perhaps they would have even deserved to be ranked in the actual top 10. The reason why I didn't feature them is that I didn't really get into them that much personally. They were still kind of grindy and I just kind of lost interest after a while, which I didn't with Lost Ark, for example. So yeah, it's honestly hard to leave them out, but they're really good games. The Insects one is just really fun. It's just a gorgeous big world. And the V Rising has a really kind of different take on the survival gameplay. It's more like a Diablo but survival. Just check them out. So then there was also Multiversus, which I played a lot. Also really enjoyable, really good game actually. It's not really that original. It's just Super Smash Bros, but slightly different. So I don't consider it special enough maybe to be featured on the list. It is really fun. Yeah, well balanced, pretty well balanced, as well balanced as you would expect. Cool characters too, and of course if you don't own a Nintendo, then this is a great alternative for Super Smash. So then there was Evil Dead, the game. I've seen the movies. They're super gory but quite funny. They're not really scary so much. And this game is kind of this game is actually scarier because it's a game. It's a lot like Left 4 Dead, and I think I would sooner play that again than dive back into Evil Dead the game. But yeah, deserves an honorable mention. Then finally I wanted to mention Slime Ranger 2 because I really like Slime Ranger 2 so far. I've only started playing it recently, so I don't think I can really judge it or place it in the top 10, but it's a pretty cool crafting game as well. Farming game. Is it a farming game? Yeah, I think that counts as a farming game. Anyway, you soak up slimes, colorful little slimes with your gun, and then you farm them in your home, and you create new slimes, and then they poop out little gems that give you money. It sounds weird, but it's a really cool game. So finally, as our number one spot, Overwatch 2. Okay, so the real number one spot, best game of 2022 is Elden Ring.
Guided by grace.
Bet you did not expect that, because no one else, absolutely no one else, would have picked Elden Ring as their number one game of 2022. I think it hardly needs explaining, but I loved Elden Ring. It's a gorgeous open world, really cool enemies, really cool boss fights. I like the skill system, of course, with the runes and everything, and I liked how I was able to get my own playstyle. It looks gorgeous, and the world is full of surprises. Like when I discovered that underground area for the first time, I was like, I just fell into it. I don't even remember how it happened, but I was like, what? This also belongs to the map? How big is this world? And it kept amazing me. Really cool game. Alright, so something I really like in particular is, in the Souls games it can get really frustrated to get stuck on a certain enemy, and in Elden Ring you have less of that struggle. I would say it's a lot easier than other Souls games because of that, but it's also a lot more fun. So I prefer this. If I get stuck on a boss, I can just do something else and come back later and try again, which makes for just a more fun experience. Really like just roaming through the world as well, just no goal, just going, riding on my goat donkey, jumpy steed mount. Yeah, I just think this game absolutely deserves the number one spot, best game of 2022. It's just nothing really comes close, right? Or well, God of War probably comes close, but since I haven't played that, nothing actually does come close on my list. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed seeing my favorite games, and maybe I'll see you in a year from now when I make my best games of 2023. Yeah. Bye bye.